Video games. They're amazing. The idea that you can just type in a bunch of random numbers and letters that can create a game is so mind-blowing to me. It started out with banger games like Pong, which was pretty boring to say the least. It marked a spot in history which would be something that people would use and play with every day. Nowadays we have amazing games like Minecraft, Call of Duty, Five Nights at Freddy's, and Roblox. Now that might just sound like a random assortment of games, but I tried to get different types of games in the list. Let's start this off with Minecraft, a great adventure game where you can be creative and build houses, or you can play survival and fight some mobs, slay dragons, commit a felony against the nearest village because they have some pretty good stuff there. Next up is Call of Duty. I personally have never played this game, but it touches the first-person shooter aspect where you fight other players to win. I don't really have much more to say, so we'll just move on to the next game. Five Nights at Freddy's, one of the best horror games that has graced the internet in more ways than one. They have changed the way that people have made horror games, for better or for worse, but their fanbase have some of the best game developers and have created awesome fan games, and some of the best memes out there. Roblox is the final game on this list. I don't play it very often, but they have created a platform for tons of people to create their own games. If it were for the people that created games for fun on Roblox, it would have been a complete flop, and none of them would have the wallets of kids under the age of 10. These games have inspired so many people like me. I have tried quite a bit of times to create my own game, but I have not had the patience to completely go through with it. I'm impressed with game developers' drive to make a game. They have to go through the pain of errors and other things that don't work, let alone learning how to even code in the first place. If you want to make a good game, learn how to code in an actual class. Don't learn it from the internet, because you will not remember anything you just learned on a video. They won't walk you through it, they'll just type in random stuff that somehow works. For me, when I would do that, I would type in the exact same thing that they would type, and I would somehow get errors and they wouldn't. So I just gave up on the idea of making a game and went back to just consuming games instead. TV shows and movies have also gotten people to make games about them. For example, there are a ton of SpongeBob fan games and especially Squidward fan games. Most of those kinds of games are basically just horror games, but that's not the point. The point is that there are so many games with different themes and types that can and have been created. And we haven't even talked about VR games yet. VR games are also great. You feel like you're actually there. I don't like Meta or Mark Zuckerberg trying to change the life of a human for good, but VR games are great. You can be a quarterback for the Carolina Panthers. You can ride a roller coaster. You can be a gorilla and chase people around, all with the comfort of your own home. Every year, video games are just getting better and better. But there is one problem with video games that you've probably have seen talked about in other videos. It's that video games are just not as fun anymore. I have not gotten the same joy out of a video game that I did 2 or 3 years ago. Nothing really catches my eye as fun anymore. I don't have a ton of money to spend on video games, so I have to think carefully about how often I will play this game. I know not all games have a paywall that you need to play it, but a lot of better games make you pay for it. A lot of times when I find a game online, whether it was from YouTube or some other sort of social media, I will think it's very fun to play, but then when I buy it, I stop playing it after 3 days. So I have stopped actively looking for good games to play. In conclusion, games are pretty awesome, but they're taking a downward turn. If you're making a game, please make it good, and make it like $10 or less. If the game is good, people will buy it, and you will become rich. La do 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 la do 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 la 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 do 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 da 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 la da 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 la da 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 la do 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 la da da da